Do you like third-person RPGs? Do you like deep and intriguing storylines? Have you ever wanted to sword fight 3 demon witches who use their evil influence to harvest human body parts from surrounding towns? Well, maybe keep that last one to yourself. Okay, clearly the most unrealistic part about this game is the fact that this guy can keep his hair out of his face while he fights. Hello again and welcome back to Let's Play It. It's time to oil up your long swords and cast some weird finger magic, because we're talking about why The Witcher 3 ruined other games for me. Oh, that stinks. Sorry man, that was me. How do people have hair like this? Anyways, though this game came out in 2015, after I was done playing it, I genuinely had a hard time playing other games. Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, Deus Ex, you name it. All just kind of seemingly fell flat on their faces when I'd open it up. And I always ended up closing it and going back to The Witcher. I'd end up playing Fallout 4 and realize, well, I'm sure this game's gonna be fun when it's all modded, but as of right now, your choices don't really seem to matter. And then I'd load The Witcher back up. But I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Let's go over a few key factors of what I'm talking about. So why do I love this game so much? Well, one thing is the atmosphere and the overall presentation of the world. The best way I've been able to explain the world and atmosphere of The Witcher is that it's a good example of what the world would actually be like if magic and monsters really existed. What I mean by that is it wouldn't be a Disney princess story. Princess, I have searched far and wide to see your beautiful face.
Who, me?
Oh,
Where you going?
nope, not today, nope. For example, there's racism, there's murder, conflict, weird interspecies relationships, and more. The first time I booted up this game and saw the sky as I rode my horse, I seriously stopped and said, whoa. This is still today one of the most beautiful games I have ever played in my life. Even in the dirty city streets that you go, the attention to detail and the way it looks and feels so lived in makes it an entire package. Let me give you an example of what I mean by attention to detail. First time I played this game, I literally was just running around and exploring, and I went to this random island. Days later, I took a quest where the NPC actually asked me to go to that same island. But because I already explored it beforehand on my own choice, the main character's dialogue completely changed. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know where that is, he said, oh yeah, I've already been there. What? That means they had to program that entire scenario and voice record an entirely new line of dialogue on the off chance that you explored that island before you took that quest. That's incredible. This is what I mean when I say that this game's atmosphere and story just pull you in. This is truly a game where you'll sit down and say to yourself, alright, I got 30 minutes for my lunch break.
2 hours later.
Wait. Oh, I'm in trouble. Next up, what I like about this game is the story. This game is what I like to call a slow burn. Oh yeah, that's a spot. If you jump into this game expecting a fast-paced action adventure, you'll probably be a little bit disappointed. While there are definitely parts of this game that are really tense, action-filled, and emotionally gripping, it's also a game that benefits from you slowing down, doing some side quests, and really just relaxing and enjoying the world. If you didn't know, the games, and actually now 2 Netflix series, are all based off of books written by the Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. Alright, clearly my mouth doesn't move that way.
That's what she said!
For the purposes of this video, we're just going to call him Andy. Thanks, Andy. You play as a man named Geralt, or as my wife likes to say, hey, is that Gerald? Close, sweetheart. In this world, he's what's called a witcher, hence the title of the game. A witcher is literally a professional monster killer. And I don't mean professional as in just he's really good at it. A lot of this game is you going from town to town and getting jobs from peasants to kill monsters. And you can even haggle over the price sometimes. As far as some of the characters go, that is some of the most interesting character development of any game I have ever played. Almost every single main or side character has their own deep backstory and usually a quest line to go with it. Plus, there's Yennefer. By the way, yes, it is Yennefer, not Jennifer. I guess it's Polish. Either way, some people do complain about Geralt's lack of emotion through some of the game, but his interactions with other people is pretty phenomenal.
This is very romantic.
F*** off.
Most of the time. Next up, we've got the music. Music in this game is an interesting one. Most gamers are accustomed to hearing a large orchestra when they think of the background music in an RPG. And while this game definitely has some of those types of songs in here, a large portion of the music was done by a Polish folk metal band named Percival. Oh yeah, You heard that right. Folk metal. It's like jazz punk or something, I guess. Sounds like it wouldn't work, but for this game, it works amazingly. It absolutely encapsulates that raw, realistic environment that I was talking about earlier. And it helps players immerse themselves in something truly special. It also has hands down one of the most beautiful in-game songs I have ever heard.
To find your heart.
And I can also guarantee this is copyright, so I'm just gonna talk right over that. Either way, the music in this game is so perfect and the atmosphere is so engaging that you end up remembering it for years. Next up on this list of things of why this game is the most amazing game I've ever played is Gwent. Holy crap, Gwent. Talk about a time suck. I'm not a huge card game player. I know they have a very specific fan base, and I think it's awesome when people are really into those, but it's never really been a thing for me until Gwent. Actually, side story on that. So I had played Magic the Gathering like once in college. Then I got invited to a card game party that was featuring Magic. We'll just say I was little out of my league.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
Put it this way, I felt a little underdressed because I forgot my hooded cape. Cool guys though. But Gwent is a completely optional side card game in The Witcher 3. You can literally spend dozens and dozens of hours playing this game and still not be bored. Yeah, don't mind me, I know I'm supposed to be looking for my adopted daughter and, you know, saving the world, but I can wait a few more rounds, right? Then we've got the fact that this game has DLCs that are truly amazing. One of the best things that the developer CD Projekt Red did on this game is how they handled the DLCs. At the time, and even still today, DLCs and microtransactions are a nightmare. And truth to be told, kind of a plague on gaming society. We had companies like EA literally lying to its player base about microtransactions in their games, and countries around the world banning loot box practices because it's basically gambling for kids. But when it came to The Witcher 3, not only did we get a dozen free DLCs in the form of like small quests and cosmetic upgrades, but their two actual paid DLCs were as big as some standalone games on their own. At the time of release, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine gave you like 50 hours of gameplay, and they were a total of like $30.
It's like $1 an hour.
That's not even to mention the fact that, honestly, I think the stories in the expansions are even better than the base game. Okay, spoiler alert. For those of you that played Hearts of Stone, you know the main antagonist is a guy named Gonter O'Dim. Yeah, this D-bag. I don't know why I missed it the first time, but when I finally realized you literally had a full-blown conversation with him in the first 15 minutes of the base game, I was like, yeah! It blew my mind. Also, side note on how good the writing is, you can beat Hearts of Stone before you beat the base game, and literally ask Gonter O'Dim how to save Ciri. The whole point of the base game. That brings us to this question. Is this a perfect game? Nope. But it's close. If we're being honest with ourselves, Geralt handles like a drunk. He also dies if he falls about 10 inches off of a ledge. Your horse is also buggy about half the time when you call it. And some of the level scaling for enemies is kind of wackadoo. But its small faults are so massively overshadowed by all the good in the game that honestly, you almost forget about them. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this game had such widespread reception and did so well in sales that now Netflix has worked with the original author, Andy, to have both a live action show and an anime. As of right now, the anime comes out in a few days and it looks great. A little edgy, but good. And the live action show on Netflix is reported to be one of the biggest grossing shows on Netflix. I have an unhealthy amount of time into this game, and if we're being honest, it's not even half of what other people put into it. At the end of the day, this game gets an absolute 9.9 out of 10 for me. If you have had any interest at all at what I've been saying, you can usually get the Game of the Year edition on sale for like $20. So that brings us to something else I want to talk about. Is there gonna be a Witcher 4? Well, according to CD Projekt Red, the answer to that is an absolute, definite maybe. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that they're working on the next Witcher project. What exactly is it though? We don't know. Truly, I think it's going to be something they're going to keep a tight lid on, especially after the whole Cyberpunk fiasco. Hopefully they learned that too much hype and too little delivery doesn't go well. Probably just a good idea to wait to tell us. Me personally, I want it to be one of two things. A completely standalone Witcher game where you make your own Witcher, go through the trial of the grasses, and have an adventure off of that. Or B, Vesemir's story. I think it would be legit to explore Vesemir's younger life. Maybe even meet Geralt in the process. Almost kind of like how Red Dead Redemption 2 overlapped with Red Dead Redemption 1 and handled that. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Either way, guys, if you have not played The Witcher 3, it is a game that I cannot recommend enough. It is definitely not a game for everybody, but it is phenomenal and it is truly probably my favorite game I have ever played. I hope you guys liked this video. I appreciate all of my recent subscribers. If you have any ideas, throw it in the comments, and as always, guys, have fun. Nope, not today. Nope.